And today, since I feel like a little bit of a negative Nancy, I think it's... No, how do I say that? Hey everyone, my name is Scott. I am the founder and author of SANspotter.com. I create airline and travel content, but with this COVID-19 thing going on right now, I am stuck at home doing quarantine content. Speaking of which, shooting from home has been a new challenge for me, and I gotta admit that I'm kind of enjoying it, just a little bit. The thing is, I've got a lot to learn, and I know my setup isn't perfect yet. I think I've got the green screen thing figured out. The lights are okay. They're a little bit harsh and a little bit uneven. I'd like to get that worked out, but the biggest problem I have right now is sound. You hear that echo when I talk and that hollow sound? I need to fix that. It's driving me nuts. Before this whole pandemic is over, I want to learn how to shoot studio quality, professional video from home that looks perfect. Please have patience with me. And I'm actually kind of curious what you think. What do you think of my setup here? Do you have any recommendations for me? I know the sound sucks. I'm working on that. Hopefully that'll be better within a couple weeks. I ordered some acoustic panels for the walls, and I'm kind of hoping that's going to fix that. So anyway, I'm getting way off track here, as I usually do. But today we are going to talk about airline food, and this is great because if you know me, you know that I've flown well over 1 million miles by now on over 100 different airlines. You can go check my flight log on SANspotter.com, link in the description below. You can see all the flights that I've taken over the years, and it adds up to quite a bit. And yes, I have eaten a lot of airline food, both good and bad. And today, because I feel like being somewhat of a negative Nancy, I guess, we are going to talk about the worst airline food that I've ever had. Going all the way back, although most of this is from my recent flights over the past 2 years, because it was only about 2 years ago that I started traveling really heavily. And believe me, in those 2 years, I've eaten a lot of airline food, both good and bad. With that being said, I'm going to take a step back in time and reminisce about the 5 worst airline meals in order: business class, first class, economy class, it doesn't matter. These are the worst. Coming in at number 5, Hawaiian Airlines Premium Economy from Honolulu to San Diego in December 2019. Now, this was not the first time that I've flown Hawaiian Airlines Premium Economy before, and I don't actually remember the food being this bad. It's getting worse on Hawaiian Airlines, and the meal I was served on this particular flight was disgusting. It was greasy. Not only was the actual sandwich greasy and messy, the package it was wrapped in was also greasy and sticky, and it was disgusting. The flight attendant served it to me wearing a glove. She had no idea, but it was just a mess. I hate messy food. I do not like eating messy food. It just ruined the experience for me. And not only was the presentation a complete disaster, the taste wasn't all that remarkable as well. I just remember sitting there thinking, I could do better than this. And trust me, that's saying a lot. Coming in at number 4 is Delta Airlines Delta One from JFK to San Diego in, I believe it was late 2018, October, September-ish. And I'm sitting here thinking, I know I'm going to get reamed for this because I know that there are a lot of Delta fans out there, and if you say anything bad about Delta, you can just expect the comment section to blow up and just get crazy. Now, I will say that the presentation and the quality of the food was quite good. However, the problem I had with it was squarely on me. You see, I don't like sweet food. It doesn't satisfy my craving at all. And at the time of that particular flight, I remember being really hungry and I wanted something hearty, but the only option that morning was very sweet things from what I recall. And what I ended up with was essentially a tray of rice pudding drizzled with syrup and all kinds of sweet condiments like fruits and sweet cakes, and it was just too much. I didn't enjoy that at all. I was really looking forward to that flight because everything else about it was great. The seat was great, the cabin crew was great. Just being in Delta One on a long flight like that is great in general, but the food disappointed me. And again, it's just all my fault, but this is my top 5 list. I don't like sweet things, therefore it deserves a spot on my list at number 4. Number 3 was actually kind of a surprise for me. Again, it was a flight that I was looking forward to. Virgin Atlantic JFK to London Heathrow in economy on their brand new A350-1000. Again, this flight was the pinnacle of this entire trip. I was so looking forward to this. Me being me, I arrived to the gate hungry, as I usually do. I'm always hungry, and I was really looking forward to a good meal on the flight over to London that night. I had flown Virgin Atlantic in the past in business class. The food was excellent. I had nothing but high hopes for this flight. And let me just say, it was disappointing. I mean, obviously, it's number 3 on my list. So what happened was they served a reheated snack pack consisting of chicken curry and rice. And, you know, I don't even remember what was served with it, but I remember that chicken curry and how disgusting it looked. Such a disappointment. Really, really disappointing. Even the amount of food was a major disappointment. The flight attendant put it on my tray, and I was thinking, okay, is that just the first course? What's next? But that was it. And then the whole experience was terrible because I had to scarf that down. It wasn't all that good. It looked disgusting. It tasted disgusting. And then they came through the cabin just 10 minutes later picking up trays. And I know I didn't have to give them the tray back. I could have taken my time and eaten it because it was a long flight. But still, it was incredibly disappointing. And I was still very hungry after that. I didn't bring snacks. And I will say that the breakfast service a few hours later was equally disappointing. It was basically a snack, and I walked off that flight feeling extremely hungry. Coming in at number 2 on my list of the worst airline meals that I've ever eaten on an airplane is Air Tahiti Nui economy class from Los Angeles to Paris. Now, my reasoning for this goes beyond just the meal itself. So, a little bit of a backstory here. The plane took off from Los Angeles, completely full flight, and I had to use the bathroom, and I was in the forward cabin of economy. So I decided to walk all the way to the back, use the lavatory there, and then go back to my seat. However, the cabin crew was extremely quick, and they started the snack service by pushing out the carts or the trolleys out into the aisles while I was in the lavatory, and I couldn't get back to my seat. Anyway, I was really looking forward to documenting the entire Air Tahiti Nui experience for my video and my trip report on my blog. But I couldn't get back to my seat. And I tried with the cabin crew. They were very rude. They're like, you can come by when we're done. Basically, that's what it was. So I couldn't go anywhere. I had to stay in the back galley, so I missed the snack service. So I was already a little bit disgruntled about that. But then the lunch service came, and I was highly disappointed by that. First of all, it looked disgusting. It was bad. I mean, I could make food that looked better than that, again, which is saying a lot. And then number 2, it tasted bad. So I don't mind if something looks bad but tastes good, or looks good but tastes bad. As long as it has some sort of redeeming quality to it, I'm happy. However, in this case, it was just the entire package. It was terrible. I was hungry from missing the snack. The food was incredibly unappealing, both in look and taste. And for some reason, whenever I think about economy class food on an airplane, my mind just goes to dark places. And that's the one that I think of the most, because it was just bad. I'm not knocking Air Tahiti Nui. I want to fly with them again. The flight itself was a great experience, but the food on that particular flight let me down. Coming in at number 1 on my list of the worst airline food that I've ever eaten is actually a bit of a conundrum for me. You see, I was sitting here trying to think of what was the worst airline meal ever, and it dawned on me I completely forgot one. So I've only got one more spot left, but I've got 2 more to go. Completely typical of me. I'm completely disorganized most of the time, and again, it's shining through brightly in this case. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save one of these for my Facebook page. So if you're following me on Facebook, head on over there, and you can hear all about that other airline meal that is tied for the number 1 spot on my list. And I can't believe I didn't think of this before, because now I don't know which one is worst. Actually, they're both pretty bad, so I'm just going to pick one, and here it is. British Airways Club World business class from San Diego to London in late 2016, I believe it was October, on the 747-400. Again, a flight I was majorly looking forward to. Even though I had already flown British Airways Club World before that flight, I knew it was a great experience, and I was just looking forward to the overnight long flight to London, getting a good meal, then laying down and getting a good rest, and arriving in London fresh and happy. However, it didn't quite happen that way. So the meal in itself was absolutely disgusting and a complete letdown, and not only because my expectations were really high. From the appetizer to the main course to the dessert, it was a complete disaster. The cabin crew completely forgot me, and if you know British Airways Club World, you know that the window seats, where I was, a very secluded space, and it's hard to see anybody sitting in that seat if you're walking in the aisles. And I guess the flight attendant completely missed me. They got the guy sitting next to me and then they just went on their way. So finally I had to ring my call button and like, hey, I'm hungry. But anyway, that aside, the quality of the meal itself was deplorable. Everything was dry. The main course was runny, for example. I believe they served, I think it was salmon and mashed potatoes, but it looked like it had been reheated 3 or 4 times and it was just sitting in a bed of water and it looked disgusting. Taste was bland. What a major disappointment. Major disappointment for British Airways Club World, a product that I've actually had very good meals in the past. But for some reason, this flight, it seemed like it had gone between San Diego and London several times already, and they finally got around to serving that particular worn out meal to me. So that was disappointing to say the least. Anyway, that's my top 5 worst list, plus the extra bonus that I'm going to put over on Facebook. Do be sure to go over and get that one if you really want to know what tied for my #1 worst airline meal ever. Trust me, it's a good one. I can't believe I forgot that. That definitely would have been on this list. Maybe I should have made it top 6, but whatever. So anyway, now that we're at the end, I'm curious what you think. Airline meals can be either really great or really bad, and I know that everyone has a bad experience, so I want to know what your worst airline meal was. I'm sure there are going to be some good stories, and I want to read them down in the comments below. So make sure you do that. But before you go, I just want to give a quick shout out to QFS Aviation and A Todos Lados Aviation, 2 of my patrons who have been supporting my content for a very long time now. And if you go over to their respective YouTube channels, I'm very sure you're going to find some disgusting meals that they've had to endure as well. Anyway, thanks for watching all the way through to the end. Thank you for having patience with my studio setup here. I'm getting the hang of it. The sound it'll start sounding better soon. And thanks to my patrons, again, everyone on this list, you're all amazing. Thank you so much. It means the world to me that you're supporting my content and everything that I do, and thank you. Anyway, that's it for me. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.